In the UK, Mr. Corbyn, public officials who support and endorse anti-Semitism. We all have the obligation to condemn them. We have the obligation to isolate them, and we have the obligation to remove them from public office. Let me share with you some numbers about anti-Semitism. Israel represents 0.1% of the world's population, but Israel receives 78% of UN condemnations. Not Iran, not Syria, not Yemen, not North Korea, but Israel. The hypocrisy is mind-blowing. The International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance states, and I quote, that when Israel and only Israel is held to higher standard and treated differently than other countries, anti-Semitism is at play. Even at the UN, we see that. We saw what happened last April in Israel when the Hamas launched an attack against our communities. They committed a double war crime because they targeted civilian population in Israel and they were hiding behind civilians in Gaza. Do you think that the Security Council held a special session about that? Maybe the General Assembly, one of the committees. The only thing that happened that week in the UN, there was a session of the Security Council, they call it Area Formula, and they decided to condemn the Jewish communities in Judea and Samaria. Shame on them for doing that. We do not take anti-Semitism lightly and without a fight. A few weeks ago, one of the leaders of the Middle East, Mr. Erdogan of Turkey, have you heard about him? He decided to push forward a resolution in the General Assembly. It was after the horrible attack in New Zealand, and we condemn all attacks on mosques, synagogues, churches. But he decided that the condemnation will not include the word anti-Semitism. He wanted it to include Islamophobia and all other forms of hate crimes, but without anti-Semitism. And I decided not to let it happen. So we started to lobby. We started to lobby our friends in the UN, and we got the support of many countries. And at the end, Mr. Erdogan had a choice to make, whether to drop his resolution or to add the word anti-Semitism to the resolution coming from Turkey. And he, at the end, adopted our language, and thanks to him, the UN, for the first time, passed a resolution in the General Assembly condemning anti-Semitism. My friends, this is not enough. We have to stand tall and to take the initiative. That's why I met with all the ambassadors of the EU, with our friends from the US, Canada, Australia, and many other countries. And I asked them that we convey a special session of the General Assembly on the issue of anti-Semitism. It wasn't easy, but I am very proud to announce here today that 10 days from today, on the 26th of June, the General Assembly will meet on a special session on the issue of fighting anti-Semitism. In this session, we will bring experts, the Secretary General, the President of the General Assembly, and I invite all of you to come to the UN on the 26th and attend this important session. I came to this position, like Yaakov mentioned to you, 4 years ago. Frankly speaking, it feels like 40 years ago, because every day at the UN, it's like 10 days. And I knew that we have to win. And I want to share with you the recipe of winning at the UN. So in order to win at the UN, I brought in two major parts. The first one is Judaism. I was not shy to be a proud Jew, and I'm not shy to stand tall, to put my yarmulke, to read from the Bible, and to bring Judaism to the halls of the UN. We got Yom Kippur to be recognized as an official holiday. We got kosher food to the cafeterias of the UN. We celebrated Passover every year with dozens of UN ambassadors. And last year, we even had a tashlich service. And you know, it's very comfortable because we have the East River. So we can throw the bread to the river. And believe me, you need a lot of bread when you speak about the sins of the UN. They have a lot of things to do there. Bringing Judaism is important, but not enough. We bring Israel to the UN, and we bring the UN to Israel. We actually took more than 80 UN ambassadors. Minister Hanegbi met them in Israel a few times. So when you take those ambassadors from different countries and you bring them to Israel, they get it. But before getting to Ben Gurion, we stop in Poland. We visit the death camps. We march in Auschwitz. And I want to share with you, after my visit a few months ago in the March of the Living, one of the ambassadors from a very important country in Asia came to me and told me, Danny, I will be very honest with you. Every time I had a delegation, I took them to see the UN, and there is a Holocaust exhibit. I never really understood what it's all about, so I just ignored it and showed him the halls of the UN. But after I visited Auschwitz, after I went to Yad Vashem, after I visited Israel, the first thing I do with every visitor I have in the UN, I start with the exhibit about the Holocaust. So we have the obligation of educating also leaders, also educators. We think that everybody are knowledgeable. It is not the case. And when the ambassadors come to Israel, when they walk in Ir David, in the city of David, in the old city of Jerusalem, they understand that if you deny the connection of the Jewish people to Jerusalem, you actually deny the connection of Christians to Jerusalem. And if you allow UNESCO or the Human Rights Council to pass resolutions condemning our eternal connection to Israel, you are actually voting against yourself. So those visits are very important, and we see the results. We are winning in the UN. When I became the first Israeli to chair a UN committee, it was a great victory. 2 weeks ago, a diplomat from our mission, Anat Tzin, was elected to become a deputy chairman of one of the committees. We had a great ambassador, your ambassador, Nikki Haley, at the UN. Yes, she deserves it. And together we had so many victories. We put a resolution on the floor of the G8 to condemn Hamas for the first time in the General Assembly. We got the votes of 87 member states who supported this resolution, and only 57 voted against that. We take the initiative and we win even in a hostile place like the United Nations. Last week, the Security Council adopted another resolution about MIAs, not the Israeli ones, a global one, a very important resolution. And we are committed to do everything we can to bring back the bodies of Oron Shaul and Adar Goldin. And this resolution that passed in the Security Council will help us to promote this important issue. My friends, I speak the truth in the halls of the UN. And I don't know if you followed my speech in the Security Council a few weeks ago when I took out the Bible and read from the Bible. By the way, this speech became viral. So many languages, so many countries. People saw it, that when you believe in your Bible, it's effective. And I told my colleagues in the Security Council that I will not speak about our security. I will speak about our rights. So first of all, we have the biblical right to the land. For me, that's enough. But if it's not enough for the ambassadors, I explain them about the historical right to the land. They should read history. They can read the book of Mark Twain. We can prove our case. And if that's not enough, we can speak about international law. The same laws that the UN is based on give us the right to the land. And the fourth pillar is the issue of peace and stability. We know that when we are in control, that we are in charge of Jerusalem, you have peace and stability. And today, I want to send you a message that I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic about our future together. Because when you see what we have today, we have diplomatic relations with more than 160 countries. That's a lot. We have some quiet negotiations with few other countries, and I think in the near future you will see that they become public. And when I speak with my colleagues, I tell them, don't be afraid. Speak publicly about what we are doing. Don't be afraid from that. But it's going to that direction. We have great technology and innovation, and you will hear about it later today. And with that technology and innovation, we can do so much more in helping so many countries all around the world. And this combination is a winning combination. So I'm optimistic. And I want to thank you for being partners in this great initiative. I want to thank you for standing with the people of Israel, for supporting the state of Israel, and together we will prevail. Thank you very much.